Hey, welcome to Charlie's Kitchen. Today we're going to do something a little different, a little more complex. Here's your list of ingredients. You're going to get a flank steak. If it happens to be a thick flank steak, and I'm saying 3/4 of an inch, have your butcher, don't try it yourself, butterfly it. In other words, open it up so it's pretty thin. Inside this flank steak, we're going to season it whatever seasons that you really like, whatever seasoning you really like. I use a steak seasoning that I homemade and Italian seasoning on the inside. Now, it's called Braciole, but in a lot of venues they call it the Capone or the John Gotti. And what it is, it's a flank steak you're going to purchase. And if your butcher can butterfly it, great. If not, you're going to have to do what I just did here shortly. And I'll show you right now. To get this thing flattened and relatively the same size all the way around. As in such, you're going to have to knock the flank right out of it. Okay, we've got that thinned down pretty good. Using a mallet. Okay, notice on the flank steak that the grain of that, it's very prominent grain, goes this way. So what's going to happen is the last thing you want to do is roll it up with the grain. Nah. We're going to roll it up against the grain so when we cut it, it's going to come out these beautiful steaks that are going to be filled with all kinds of goodness. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to season this. What I have is my steak seasoning that I do myself, but that's up to you. You can buy Montreal steak seasoning, good, or just garlic, or just salt and pepper, whatever you feel like. And this is Italian seasoning that comes right out of my greenhouse, which is in the back of my yard. And that's going to start and go in here. Now comes what we're going to stuff it with. And this is why they call it a Capone, which is a reference to Al Capone. Or they call it a John Gotti because it's reference to John Gotti. We're going to use a bunch of Italian lunch meats. The first one is almost a must. You'd have to start out with Mortadella. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much Italian bologna. And as you can see, it has little blobs of fat in it. And this is important because you want that fat on the outer rim of this Braciole or this Capone or this John Gotti, whatever you want to call it. Okay. This is the only bologna I like, by the way. And then stuffing it with the rest of your lunch meats. I can leave it up to you, but I'm going to tell you what I use, okay? We have some good old peppered salami. Good stuff. My assistant didn't quite open all the way, but that's all right. This is spicy stuff. And we kind of shingle it out here. Okay, are we getting the picture on this, folks? And you can buy these all prepackaged, or you can go to a fine Italian delicatessen and have them slice it for you. The thing nice about going to a delicatessen is you can ask them, look, I only need 6 slices of this and 5 slices of that. And after they call you a few names under their breath, they'll get over it. So we have a single peppered salami there. Now for some good stuff here. This has been opened by our camera person. And of course, there we go. Next we have another bit of a fatty salami. This is capicola or copa, they call it a lot. And again, this gets shingled. This is all good stuff. And remember, fat is flavor. As far as the calories go in this whole thing, as long as you don't serve it with a lot of pasta, you're going to be good. And for me, my Italian friends love it this way. It's the only way to fly. This is going to be a 2-part episode because this has got to bake in an oven for a while. So we have the copa, we have the salami, and we have, I don't know if you're familiar with prosciutto. We have prosciutto. which is a cured, dried, unsmoked ham, very Italian. Very thin slice, so thin it's only got one side. And then last but not least, we're going to put provolone cheese in there. And another addition you can do to this, and to make it your own recipe, you can put spinach in the middle of this, fresh spinach. When it cooks up, it'll add a lot to the dish. These gloves don't always work with this paper here. Come on, fingers. There we go. Nice slices of provolone cheese. I use provolone because it has a nice nutty flavor. It's a good melter. So is mozzarella. The only cheese I would not put in here would be blue cheese. You put blue cheese in here, and I love blue cheese, but it will overwhelm and take the flavor of the blue cheese. It won't taste anything else. So maybe we got four nice slices of provolone. That ought to do it for that. By the way, it's a shout out to Carlos, who contacted us and said that we should make this Chef Boyardee. Well, I called Chef Boyardee, and he said that's not going to happen. So we'll just leave it as Charlie's Kitchen. How does that sound? But thank you, Carlos, for your suggestion. It's much appreciated. So now we're going to roll this puppy up just like this, nice and tight. Take it from the skinny end. Keep it tucked in there until it looks like that. How's that? Pretty cool, huh? Yes, I love it. Need some butcher twine. I'm not going to teach you how to do a butcher's knot right now because that's neither here nor there. You can tie it however you want, like you tie your shoes or whatever you want to do. But always start in the middle. Okay. Nice and snug, but don't overdo it. If you overdo it, you're going to cut into the meat. And you could use something besides flank steak, but flank steak has a very, very prominent flavor. Very good flavor, I think. So if I were you, I would stick with the flank steak. I mean, you could use a slice of bottom round, I suppose. And depending on how many people you're having for dinner, depends on how many hunks of string you want to put on it, because you want to cut each individual steak in between the string. So we'll do a couple here. Okay, this is the last string. Remember how versatile this thing is. You don't have to put those lunch meats in there. You can put ham in there. You can use any different lunch meats in there. You could use Havarti cheese, would be good. Wouldn't overwhelm the dish. And there's what the roll-up looks like. Okay, did you get a good look at that? Okay. Pretty square looking because you want it to cook evenly. So that's it for this one, but make sure to come back next week because we're going to finish this off. This is Braciole, or if you want to call it by your name or any Italian name you have, that's fine with me. Everybody have a great night.